Welcome to HARDABASHT Prop Special Part 4. So, I know it's not marathon anymore, but I promise I will try to finish all the rest of the propositions at the next week. Please give me a chance, guys. I'm doing another stuff to keep myself alive. All right, so let's cut the chase. We're talking about California Proposition 22, app-based driver as contractor and labor policies initiative. Yes, for this proposition, we'll support this ballot initiative to define app-based transportation, rideshare, and delivery drivers as independent contractors and adopt labor and wage policies specific to app-based driver and companies. And no, will oppose what we mentioned before, which is basically make California Assembly Bill 5 as required for those drivers, and they will be counted as employees. What would app-based driver be classified as for employment? Proposition 22 would consider app-based driver to be independent contractors and not employees or agents. Therefore, the ballot measure would override Assembly Bill 5, signed in September 2019, on the question of whether app-based drivers are employees or independent contractors. What the Assembly Bill 5 is, AB 5. AB 5 established a three-factor test to decide a worker's status as an independent contractor. The three-factor test requires that the worker is free from the hiring company's control and direction in the performance of work. The worker is doing work that is outside the company's usual course of business, and the worker is engaged in an established trade, occupation, or business of the same nature as the work performed. Responding to AB 5, Tony West, the Chief Legal Officer of the ride-sharing business Uber Technologies, states, because we continue to believe drivers are properly classified as independent, and because we will continue to be responsive to what the vast majority of the drivers tell us they want most flexibility, drivers will not be automatically reclassified as employees. We will continue to respond to claims of misclassification in arbitration and in court as necessary, just as we do now. Likewise, John Zimmer, president of Lyft, said, "We are focused on operating as we are." On August 10, 2020, the Superior Court of San Francisco ruled that Uber and Lyft violated AB 5 and misclassified their workers. Attorney General Xavier Becerra responded, "The court has weighed in and agreed Uber and Lyft need to put a stop to unlawful misclassification of their drivers while our litigation continues." Who is behind the campaign surrounding Proposition 22? On August 30th, 2019, three companies, DoorDash, Lyft, and Uber, each placed $30 million into campaign accounts to fund a ballot initiative campaign should the legislature pass AB 5 without compromising with the companies. We remain focused on reaching a deal and are confident about bringing this issue to the voters if necessary, said Lyft spokesperson Adrian Durbin. So what else would the ballot measure change? Since Proposition 22 would consider app-based driver to be independent contractors and not employees, state employment-related labor laws would not cover app-based drivers. Proposition 22 would enact labor and wage policies that are specific to app-based drivers and companies, including Payment for the difference between the worker's net earning excluding tips and net earning floor based on 120% of the minimum wage applied to a driver's engaged time and 30 cents adjusted for inflation after 2021 per engaged mile, limiting app-based drivers from working more than 12 hours during 24 hours period unless the driver has been logged off for an uninterrupted 6 hours. For drivers who average at least 25 hours per week of engaged time during a calendar quarter, require companies to provide healthcare subsidies equal to 82% the average California covered premium for each month. For drivers who average between 15 and 25 hours per week of engaged time during calendar quarter, require companies to provide healthcare subsidies equal to 41%. The average CC premium for each month, require companies to provide or make available occupational accident insurance to cover at least $1 million in medical expenses and lost income resulting from injuries suffered while a driver was online, defined as when the driver is using the app and can receive service requests but not engaged in a personal activities, require the occupational accidents insurance to provide disability payments to 66% of a driver's average weekly earning during the previous 4 weeks before the injury suffered while the driver was online but not engaged in personal activities for upward of 104 weeks, about 2 years in the max, required companies to provide or make available accidental death insurance for the benefit of the driver's spouse, children, or other independents when the driver dies while using the app. So, Proposition 22 would define a driver's engaged time, the time between accepting a service request and completing the request. I will try to shortcut the rest. The ballot title is Exempts App-Based Transportation and Delivery Companies from Providing Employee Benefit to Certain Drivers Initiative Status. Ballot Summary classifies drivers for app-based transportation, rideshare, and delivery companies as independent contractors, not employees, unless company sets drivers' hours, requires acceptance of specific rides and delivery requests, or restrict working for other companies. Independent contractors are not covered by various state employment laws, including minimum wage, overtime, unemployment insurance, and worker compensation. Instead, independent contractor drivers would be entitled to other compensation, including minimum earning, healthcare subsidies, and vehicle insurance, restrict certain local regulations of app-based drivers, and criminalizes impersonation of drivers. The fiscal impact: minor increase in the state income taxes paid by rideshare and delivery companies, drivers, and investors. So let's go to who support. The support for it with political parties, there is no surprise. Republican Party of California support this proposition. The unions in support are California Peace Officers Association, California Police Chief Association, and California State Sheriff's Association. The corporations in the support are DoorDash, Instacart, Lyft, Postmates, and Uber. Organizations are Cal Asian Chamber of Commerce, California Black Chamber of Commerce, California Chamber of Commerce, California Farm Bureau Federation, California Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, California NAACP State Conference, California Small Business Association, California State National Action Network, California Taxpayers Association, Crime Victims United of California, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, National Black Chamber of Commerce, and National Taxpayer Union. Select 3 random arguments. Tikoy Porter, president of the National Action Network, Sacramento chapter, said, app-based driving is under threat. That's why we need this ballot measure to pass to end the uncertainty and make sure people maintain the liability to earn money on their terms when their schedules allow, even after this pandemic has passed. Helen Whitty, president of Mothers Against Drunk Driving, said the best way to prevent drunk driving is to simply never drink and drive. Prop 22 will preserve rideshare services that help keep drunk and drug-impaired drivers off of our roads by providing a safe, reliable, convenient, and affordable alternative to driving. Fewer rideshare drivers in California could mean more people choosing to get behind the wheel when they are under the influence, rolling back the substantial gain that have been made over the past 10 years, in part due to the growth of ride-sharing. Robert Gutierrez, president of California Taxpayer Association, said by approving Proposition 22, voters will protect app-based drivers' independence to choose when, where, and how long to work, enabling hundreds of thousands of drivers to supplement lost income and wages. Prop 22 provides more transportation and delivery options for consumers while at the same time improving California's economy during the historic recession. It's more important than ever that voters focused on protection jobs and rebuild the economy. The oppositions for Prop 22, there is no political opposing 22. The officials are U.S. Senator Kamala Harris, Vermont U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders, Massachusetts U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren, U.S. Representative Barbara Lee, State Senator Maria Elena Dorazo, State Senator Nancy Skinner, State Senator Scott Weiner, Assemblyperson Lorena Gonzalez Fletcher, Speaker of the State Assembly Anthony Render, State Assemblyperson Buffy Weeks, Stockton Mayor Michael Tubbs, and State Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara, State Superintendent of Public Instruction Tony Thurmond, and State Controller Betty Yee. Former officials in the oppose are former Vice President Joe Biden, former U.S. Secretary of Labor Robert Rich, and there is a political party in the oppose, which is not surprising, is the Democratic Party. The unions in oppose are American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, California Labor Federation, California Professional Firefighters, California State Council of Laborers, California Teachers Association, SEIU, California State Council, State Building and Construction Trades, Council of California Transport Workers, Union of America, Unite Here, United Food and Commercial Workers Western State Council. The organizations in the oppose are ACLU of Southern California, California Alliance for Retired Americans, California League of Conservation Voters, Democracy for America, and Gig Workers Rising. 3 short arguments. As Lorena Gonzalez, legislative author of AB5, these billion-dollar corporations still refuse to offer their workers what every other employee in California is entitled to: earning the minimum wage for all hours worked, Social Security, normal reimbursement for their costs, overtime pay, and the right to organize. Art Polsky, chief officer of the California Labor Federation, said, "This measure is another brazen attempt by some of the richest corporations in California to avoid playing by the same rules as all other law-abiding companies in our state. These CEOs spin this ballot measure as a benefit to workers, but their corporate Hail Mary falls short. It's still protection and pay their employees are entitled to under current law." And a third argument, Stockton Mayor Michael Tubbs said, Prop 22 embodies the opposite side of racial equities, as it would leave black and brown drivers with no sick pay, no workers' compensation, and no unemployment insurance, because the app companies wrote the initiative to take these benefits away. Financially, who support Proposition 22, the total contribution of the support is $184,344,108.14. This is the largest numbers of the proposition of this year, and I think it's rarely to exceed ever this amount for contribution. And who oppose got a total contribution of $10,647,645.53. So let's say, so in my opinion, they're trying to make kind of a valid, attractive points for the proposition, but not really fair in my opinion. I mean, so basically they want to keep the counted labor time is between accepting the task to the end of the task and make it just 120% of the minimum wage plus the fuel expenses. To be honest, I had no problem with Uber before as a driver, as someone driving with Uber. But when I had to work with DoorDash, now in matter of fact, currently I'm doing DoorDash to get some extra money here and there, because in this pandemic, every penny is count. So to be honest, currently it's even like I even didn't get comparison to minimum wage for the, despite the fact of the expenses, just the total earning, it's less than the minimum wage. Actually, you know what? I want to give you an example about it. So for example, my earning for last week, $327. The dash time was 26 hours and 37 minutes. So like we say, it's less than $15 per hour from my dash time, despite the fact of the expenses I needed to pay for this dash. And on top of that, DoorDash can't be in comparison with the rideshare, because first of all, I'm accountable for the amount of declined tasks. You can't like make me in need of accepting lousy rate tasks, and then you say you are independent, you don't deserve to be a full employment rights. That's beyond the non-fair. All right. For instance, I had a delivery, and I will talk about just from acceptance to the drop-off. I will not mention the efforts and time to get the delivery. All right. So from picking up point to the drop-off point is 15 minutes in total of 13 miles. And how much I got paid? $5.75. I'm running a little bit heavy car, so I spend at least 1 gallon, $3. So like $2.75, let's say $3 I got for 15 minutes in net. That will not be fair. I mean, if you want to make the proposition, I'm not totally against Proposition 22, but I think it's still not fair in its status. If you want to make it at least like, okay, count just during the task, but make it at least $25-30 during the task. Any independent contractor outside of this business will not hire himself up for any business less than that. Besides, we need to count that the one who is working, we need to find some kind of secure for the time that he is just waiting. He is occupied for your tasks but has no tasks. That earning is zero. So give him at least sense of fairness before you exceeding that to you are not an employee or you don't deserve the employee's right. First, I can't be accountable for refusing any amount of tasks. That's my time. I'm free for it. But in DoorDash, if you refuse more than 20%, then you will be deactivated despite the fact of the reason. And that's kind of employment things. You enforcing rules in order for me to stay with you. That's an employment, despite the fact that I can choose my schedule, despite the fact that I have the control in accepting or not. But if you make it like there is a maximum amount of declining, then I'm an employee. You have to give me the employment rights because you got procedures. If you want me to be independent contractor, then I'm free to go wherever I want. I'm accountable for where I will online, and I can accept or not accept any kind of rights. I don't have these troubles with Uber. I never had these troubles, but with a DoorDash, wow, that's a lot of troubles. So for me, leaning for not to Proposition 22, and as it was like, sorry, I took a long time, but I have to say at the end, and you know what I have to say at the end, and there is no run from it. So anyway, that's it for now. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if so, leave a like and write a comment about stuff that you want me to HARDABASHT about. As also, hit hard on the subscribe button and juggle the bells for notification, and share the video with whoever you like. And remember to be aggressive here, because these things will affect you for years. Until then, I will camp here and let my sheep rest for another video, and then see y'all Heesh.